Hello and welcome to Newsround, the programme that brings you the aerospace news from around the Middle East, Africa and South Asia region. I'm Mark Pilling.
And I'm Alan Peaford. Well, things are hotting up as we bounce into the event season. Mark and I are here in Qatar at the Arab Air Carriers Organisation's annual General Assembly. So look out for our special programme from this event.
Victoria Moores has been at the Airlines Association of Southern Africa as Aaron Munetsi makes his debut appearance as CEO.
And we also look at a boost for freight industry in Bahrain with a new cargo airline taking to the skies. So stick with us for all this plus the news after this short message from our sponsors.
Welcome back, and here is the news from the MEASA region. A Qatar Airways Airbus A380 took to the skies last week for the first time in more than 18 months. The airline reluctantly took the decision to welcome the fleet back into operation due to an ongoing capacity shortage. It is anticipated that at least 5 of the airline's 10 A380 aircraft will be brought back into service on a temporary basis over the coming weeks to support fleet capacity on key winter routes. Staying with the A380, Emirates has signed a contract with UAE-based Falcon Aircraft Recycling on a pioneering initiative where its first retired A380 aircraft will be recycled and upcycled. This will dramatically reduce the environmental impact of the deconstruction process and drastically reduce landfill waste. The extensive materials recovery and repurposing activities will be entirely conducted in the UAE, further reducing the project's environmental footprint. Sir Tim Clark, President of Emirates Airlines, said the move was an elegant and fitting retirement solution for the iconic aircraft and the airline's flagship.
The governments of Angola and Cape Verde have said they want a partnership between the flagship airlines of TAG and TATV and the development hubs in Luanda and Sao to serve African markets with connections to Europe and the USA. And Royal Air Maroc is restructuring its operations in an attempt to capture some post-COVID aviation uplift. Royal Air Maroc's CEO, Abdul, said the airline is reinventing itself and it's more than ever mobilised in this period of recovery to face the major challenges that await the company in the coming years. The airline also hopes to optimise its recent entry into the One World Alliance.
An Airbus H225 has performed the first ever helicopter flight with 100% sustainable aviation fuel, powering one of its Safran Makita 2 engines. Marks the start of a flight campaign aiming to assess the impact of unblended SAF on the helicopter systems in view of certifying the use of SAF blends that exceed today's 50% limit. Royal Saudi Air Force Boeing F-15 SA fighters took part in Nasima Bahar 13, a bilateral maritime exercise with Pakistan. During the exercise, F-15s from the Saudi 29th Squadron operated from their base at Dhahran on the Arabian Gulf Coast of Saudi Arabia, using A380 MRTT tanker support to reach the exercise location off the coast of Pakistan, where they fired live AGM-84L Harpoon anti-ship missiles at ship targets, demonstrating the Royal Saudi Air Force's ability to strike maritime targets at considerable range. The UAE has announced the launch of Zayed Military University to begin in January with 100 candidates. ZMU aims to attract the UAE's young talent to serve the country, while applying the highest standards of education and training to prepare cadets for future security challenges.
Direct Maintenance is going to be providing line services for Swiss airline Edelweiss's A340 fleet in both Kilimanjaro International Airport and Zanzibar. It's also going to be performing daily checks, weekly checks and transit checks. Meanwhile, the Royal Moroccan Air Force has taken delivery of the Thales Groundmaster radar, featured in this month's TAT Defence programme. Coincidentally, this was the 100th deployment of the radar family. With its full digital architecture, the Groundmaster family detects current and future air threats at ranges of up to 500 kilometres with superior low altitude detection. That means it can pick up slow-moving UAVs. Air Arabia is celebrating its 18th anniversary and marked it this week with a new look. The Sharjah airline has unveiled a brand new uniform across its network. The airline says the new look reflects modernity and youthfulness from pilots and cabin crew to engineering and ground operations. ExecuJet MRO Services Middle East has established a new line maintenance premises at Dubai's Al Maktoum International Airport. The new premises at DWC is able to support aircraft types from various manufacturers, including Dassault, Bombardier, Embraer and Hawker.
And just down the flight line, there is a fleet of 27 Cirrus SR-22 G6 single-engine piston and Embraer Phenom 100 EV very light jet aircraft in service with the Emirates Flight Training Academy. And with a clear indication of revival, the airline is inviting aspiring UAE nationals and residents, as well as international candidates, to join its cadet training program. Captain Abdul Al-Hamadi, Vice President of the Academy, said the demand for pilots will continue to grow. It will continue to grow globally and within the region, despite the recent pause that has been seen as a result of the pandemic. And finally, South African airline Airlink is to launch a new program involving training, new processes and supply chain interventions to identify and combat illicit wildlife trade. The illegal wildlife trade is valued at between $50 to $150 billion a year and is one of the 5 most lucrative global crimes. Illegal killing and trading of wild animals is a global crisis, with species being hunted to extinction for their horns, skins and teeth. The programme, run by IATA and United for Wildlife, will involve training for all Airlink frontline staff, including cabin crew, check-in, ground handling and cargo personnel across the airline's entire network of Southern African domestic regional destinations.
Thanks, Mark. Well, it's Southern Africa that we're going to move to now. Victoria Moores has been engrossed by the Airlines Association of Southern Africa, and I've got Victoria on the line. Victoria, what's happening there?
I think what's happening in Southern Africa is pretty much a reflection, Alan, of what's happening in Africa as a whole. Obviously, during the AASA conference, the Airlines Association of Southern Africa conference that's just taken place, there was a lot of focus, particularly on the rollout of the vaccines in Africa, which remains well behind the rest of the world.
Now, this was Aaron Munetsi's, the new CEO's, first outing. How did he do?
I think he did really well. I think that Aaron, who's the new CEO of AASA, his personality shone through when he presented. He is a man of many metaphors and he knows the industry well. He spent a long time with South African Airways. And I think that he captured the balance right between being pushy enough to get things done and also knowing the business well enough to have the respect of the audience. So I think he did very well in his opening address. Colourful metaphors about Africa needing tough medicine moving forward from here. A lot of messages, obviously, for the politicians and a real message about becoming more joined up, more connectivity across Africa, across the whole of the business.
But I guess at the heart of all this is the finance. What did Aaron have to say about that?
Yeah, one of the bits that I found quite interesting is that Aaron said that, yes, of course, some kind of state support is needed by the industry right now. However, he was very clear to say it's not necessarily bailouts, which is interesting given his background with SAA. He said that the kind of methods used in Europe, in North America, in the rest of the world, like government guarantees, like relief on fees and charges, those sort of measures that may well have to be paid back, those were the kind of measures that he was backing. And I found that slightly surprising rather than just a call for government intervention and government support.
Thanks, Victoria. Mark.
And this week we've been in Qatar at the ACO AGA, and there are similar concerns here. I got to speak to Abdul Wahab Al Teffaha, the Secretary General of ACO, about what he expects to achieve from this year's meeting.
2 messages, and mainly to the governments and to the public. The message to the governments is people want to go back to normal within the biosafety measures that are needed in order to fight that pandemic until hopefully soon that it is eradicated. It depends on you governments to allow people to travel. If you apply harmonious measures, risk-based measures on travel and tourism, then people will travel. And those harmonious measures and risk-based measures, then you will have travel and tourism back again to your countries, which will contribute to the growth of your economy and contribute in the job creation. The second message is a message of sustainability. We are committed, but we need the governments to play their part in reforming the infrastructure from air traffic management to airports, and eradicating delays and congestion, because that actually increases the aviation footprint on the environment. Now, as I said, we will deliver on that promise, but if the governments did not play their part, if the technology partners did not play their part, if the fuel suppliers did not do their part, we will deliver on that, but the cost is going to be higher because we will have to buy offsets in order to achieve that target. But I don't want to mince words. We will deliver on zero net emissions by 2050, no matter what. But I hope that the public will support us in requesting and demanding from the governments, particularly from the governments, from the technology partners and from the fuel suppliers to do their part in order for us to play our role as bridging people connectivity as we do always.
And that was Abdul Wahab Teffaha. And there certainly are signs of growth, certainly in the cargo activities, and we can expect to see a lot of this at next week's Dubai Air Show. Well, Bahrain is certainly seeing growth in cargo, and last week MENA Aerospace formally launched its MENA Cargo business. MENA Cargo aims to acquire at least 3 to 4 new aircraft for its fleet in the next year, and it's aiming for a critical mass of 15 to 20 aircraft in the longer term. It's initially operating a Boeing 737-300F PEMCO cargo conversion. However, it's also signed a year-long lease with Portugal's Euro-Atlantic Airways for a Boeing 777-200ER and a 767-300ER, both of which will be operated in passenger-to-freighter configuration. The two companies said that further aircraft are likely to follow.
We looked at the regional markets, where are the growth, where are the gates to the global market, and the growth we've seen, to be honest, is mainly in the Gulf area, in Africa and Southeast Asia. So our thought process was, let's try to link these markets and let's try to serve these markets. So that was the original vision by which we've started, and that was the mandate that was given to Mr. Brian Hogan to wrap us up to start this whole journey in terms of the air cargo business.
And like the Boeing 777X, we will be making our way back to Dubai to get our teeth into the Dubai Air Show.
Already, we can see there are some fabulous stories ready to emerge from the show. And we're going to be bringing you a preview from the event on Saturday and then a daily news program throughout the week. So do keep tuning in to Times Aerospace TV on YouTube or through our website, timesaerospace.aero.
And don't forget to check the news and comments from the leadership of the Arab carriers in our special wrap program brought to you with the support of CFN. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
How do we achieve ultimate defense interoperability? Inspired by Vision 2030, we are introducing the first of its kind, the World Defense Show. Integrating land, air, sea, satellite, and security.